everyone, and welcome to the 41st Miami Film Festival. My name is Lauren Cohen. I'm the Director of Programming, and I am so excited to welcome you to this very special variety event honoring Tom Hiddleston. Before we get started, I'd like to give a few quick thank yous because I know you guys are so anxious to see Tom. I would like to give a big thank you to Miami-Dade College for making all of this happen. I'd like to thank Disney, and of course, I'd like to thank Variety, who makes magic happen every time we partner with them. I can't believe this is happening tonight. I can't believe we have Tom Hiddleston here. Yeah, let's hear it for Tom. He has played one of the most iconic villains in one of the biggest franchises of all time. He's worked with some of the greatest directors of all time, including Steven Spielberg, Guillermo del Toro, Jim Jarmusch, Taika Waititi, and Joanna Hogg. He's absolutely incredible, and you guys are going to have an amazing time tonight listening to him speak. And so I know you're ready to see him. So to present tonight's Variety Award, please join me in welcoming Variety's Janelle Riley.
Hey, everyone. Oh, boy, this is a big room. So as the lovely woman just told you, my name is Janelle Riley. I'm an editor at Variety, and I'm so thrilled to be here tonight. I love Miami, I love this film festival, and I love Cubano sandwiches, so I am having the best time. Also, your shrimp is really good. I don't know what you do, but it's really fantastic. At the risk of sounding unprofessional as a serious journalist, I am also the biggest fan of tonight's guest. I was familiar with his work prior to 2011, but then just in the space of a few months, he portrayed F. Scott Fitzgerald, starred in a film written by Terrence Davies, worked with Steven Spielberg, and of course, made his first appearance as the God of Mischief Loki in Thor. That alone would be impressive enough, but did I mention that was all within 1 year? And he has continued to deliver unique, daring performances on television, movie screens, and the stage, able to slip into any character, any genre, any medium. Along the way, he has received a Golden Globe Award, a Laurence Olivier Award, and nominations from BAFTA, SAG, Tony, and Emmy Awards. Today he adds to that, Variety's Virtuoso Award. Let's take a brief look at the career of Tom Hiddleston.
You're really good at doing awful things and then just get in the way. What can I say? Going right over it for 11 months. Why? Who knows? Surprise! Moffat disease carrying flies and mosquitoes. I mean, I haven't even stomach things that are to be there's no man comes out anymore.
Bring the 2,000 totally fast, number one. Stand by to all credit.
Yeah, I want you. It's never too late to begin again. I say, it's when the ghost lost. Down the swords of light. Closest. 50 yards basically. And I have several years to 3 kids to go through.
What's it going to be this time?
Oh, everyone, I am happy, I am thrilled, I am honored, I'm just a little bit intimidated to welcome Variety's Virtuoso Award honoree, Tom Hiddleston.
Oh, look at that. I am so grateful for this great honor. Thank you so much for giving it to me. And most especially to Variety, including Janelle, and to Miami Film Festival and Miami-Dade College, whose students I was honored to meet earlier this afternoon. Virtuoso. Honestly, when I think of the word virtuoso, I think of a dazzling violin soloist standing in front of the orchestra. And I feel about as far from that as it's possible to imagine. And luckily for you, I will not be playing a musical instrument tonight. But virtuoso, the truth is, of course, I'm not. And by that I mean, for me, the joy of my life as an actor has been about being in a company, about playing in concert in the orchestra. And what we do as actors is a collective, creative endeavor. And the joy of it is sharing the dream, sharing the space within the architecture of our imagination. And if I have done anything of any value, including those clips you've seen, it's because of the energy and the generosity I receive from other actors and the other artists around me on a set, on a stage. As an actor, you learn your lines, you do your prep, you build a character, you create an interior life, and you show up on the dance floor, and the magic is what happens in the space between you. But continuing the musical theme, when I was younger and I dreamt of becoming an actor, it was because I wanted to play all the keys and chords on the piano. And by that I mean, I wanted to experience and express the range that exists in all human beings, the range in the experience of being alive. And as I accept this award, I just want to pay tribute to the hundreds of brilliant artists who have helped me to do what I do, given me opportunity and inspiration, the directors, the producers, the writers, the costume designers, production designers, makeup artists, stunt coordinators, assistant directors, PAs, the actors, the extraordinary, generous, giving, hilarious actors, and the crew immaculate and tireless, who often arrive on set and get up earlier than I do, and they leave set after I'm gone. Thank you for giving me a few solos to play. I hope that there are a few more to come.
Yeah, great.
Thank you, Janelle.
Of course. I made that myself.
Did you?
Yeah.
I didn't know you were a glassblower.
Yeah, my home kiln.
Okay.
I just, whip that out.
It's a beautiful thing. The Variety Virtuoso Award. Lovely to see you all. Thank you for being here tonight. May I leave it there?
I hate to expose you as a liar right off the bat. You said you would not be playing a musical instrument. Can I embarrass you? He came backstage. There was a piano backstage. You just sat down and basically played a concert, unprompted. Is there anything you're bad at?
The piano. And so many things. How long have you got? Maths, physics, golf.
I'm not sure I believe it. I mean, it was almost a joke. I saw that piano and I said, Tom's probably going to play that. And then you walked in, you sat right down and and it wasn't just for me, it would be chopsticks, but you were playing a real piece of music.
I played a real piece of music. Yes, it was, truthfully, I find, maybe it goes, from my time in the theater, often, I have found that in the green room backstage, there's always an upright piano. And sometimes I find it very soothing to just go and have a little play. And I really do play very badly. Nobody should ask me to play ever. I just play for myself. And so I'm sorry to have subjected you to that.
Yes, it was so terrible. But again, thank you so much for being here and welcome to Miami.
Thank you very much.
I want to jump right in because I know it's the most important question. Do you still know all the words to Will Smith's Miami rap?
Steel Trap.
Really?
I think so. I mean, I haven't done it for a while.
Because you did this like 10 years ago and it was amazing.
Yes.
Yes. You want me to prompt you?
What, you want me to start?
I mean, we're here.
Miami? Hang on. Miami's a place where we come, let go. Miami, the bass and the sunset low. Every day like a Mardi Gras. Everybody party all day, no work or play, okay?
Wow.
And it goes on yes. After that, but you know.
That is impressive enough. The only part I know is, hi, Will. So.
That's in there too.
Also, before we get into the serious stuff, and we're going to be really serious here tonight, I want to celebrate the great state of Florida with a quick quiz. I don't know if you know this, but Florida is home to some of the most unique city names anywhere.
I did not know that.
No, these are real town names. Weeki-Wachee.
Let's go.
Couch.
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 Sounds like a very comfortable place.
2 Egg.
As opposed to 1 egg.
Yes. And Taintsville. So I'm just going to give you a real quick list of towns, and you tell me if they are real towns in Florida or I made them up.
Okay.
Florida. Florida.
I'm going to go yes.
It's real.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
There we go. I love a good quiz.
Baghdad.
I think is real.
It is real.
Yeah.
Estee Lauderdale.
No.
God damn it, you all gave it away.
Fort Lauderdale is real, right? Yeah.
Howie in the Hills.
Say again?
Howie in the Hills.
Yes?
Yes! Wow. Sonova Beach.
Sonova Beach. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say maybe not.
Dang it, you guys are helping him out. Spuds.
Oh, that's it. You've got me. Spuds. I'm from Spuds, Florida. So I was just trying it out. Yes?
Yes.
Come on.
Okay, we have yet to stub you.
Anybody here from Spuds, Florida?
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
No, but there's a lot of love for Spuds. I can hear that.
Mustard.
No.
No, but there is a Mayo.
There is a Mayo.
There is a Mayo,
I believe
Florida.
it. I believe
yeah.
it.
Yeehaw Junction. Don't help.
I think the entire football team of Yeehaw Junction are here tonight.
He's doing well enough without your help. You're about to score a perfect 9 out of 9. Zendaya.
No.
Okay, 9 out of 9. He's good at everything. I knew it.
Amazing. Wow. Still, Spuds, Florida, eh?
Spuds, Florida. Yeah. Those were just the ones that I could say in public, too. So since we're here tonight to talk about hey, that's you. We're here tonight to talk about your career, but it actually leads me to wonder, since we're reflecting on, your whole journey here, was there ever any other line of work you considered before becoming an actor? Is there like an alternate universe out there where you're a veterinarian or, a history teacher?
I don't think I ever got far enough down the road of having any conviction about it. I honestly don't know what I would have done.
There was no backup plan.
What's that?
There's no
no
backup
plan, yeah. On another timeline, I'm doing something else. I don't know. I think, truthfully, I think I probably always wanted to do this. And I think I kept it very quiet. Very quiet. Like I didn't tell anyone. Didn't tell my parents. I didn't tell my sisters. I didn't tell my friends. They may have had an idea, but of course I loved all of it. I loved movies, I loved the theatre, I loved being in plays, such as they were at school. And I think I quietly was thinking, I'm going to do this, but I just need to make sure that I believe that I can. And that took me a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were doing school plays? Like, what were some of the early plays you did?
What were some of the early school plays? I did Arcadia by Tom Stoppard.
What high school is doing Arcadia?
I was, in fairness, I was 17. I was about to leave, so I was a bit more senior. My first school play was a Gilbert and Sullivan Rudigore. Do you know Rudigore?
I'm going to lie and say yes.
Okay. It's a sort of doomed romance, which then comes good, and I played a hearty sailor called Richard Dauntless. And in the score and in the piece, Richard Dauntless has to perform a hornpipe dance, which is a sort of genre of nautical dancing, I suppose, which I gamely performed at the age of 12. And there is a VHS of it somewhere. And I had as a companion for my hornpipe a pantomime cow.
Wow.
Played by two very good friends. So that was the first school play. It's hilarious to think of even now. What else did I do at school?
I'm literally expecting you to say Arsenic and Old Lace and Neil Simon, because that's all we do in America in high school.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like Arcadia, are you kidding me?
Arcadia, yeah. It was a big swing, actually.
Yeah.
It's a big swing to do that. And I'm trying to think what else we did. We did Timon of Athens, a Shakespeare play.
Who's doing Timon of Athens in high school?
Yeah, this sort of one of the most challenging Shakespeare plays out there. And I played Timon's kind of right-hand man, Flavius. I remember I had a very grey wig and a grey beard. It was fun. But that was the first time I ever really played a character and tried to look as far away from myself as I could. Yeah.
So when did you sort of come out to your family as an actor?
It was kind of when I left school. At the time of leaving school, I'd done my A-levels in the UK. I was 18 years old, and I had a place at university. And I went and spent that summer between school and university at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. Just if you've never been, and you love the theatre, and you love comedy, and you love all kinds of performance, go to the city of Edinburgh in Scotland in August, and you will see, I mean, there must be, tens of thousands of plays and improvised shows and reviews. It's just teeming with the most creative energy. And we did a production of the First World War drama Journey's End at the Edinburgh Fringe. We just staged it ourselves and rehearsed in July, took it up to the city, and it was the longest I'd ever been in a play. School plays were like 4 performances, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, done. And at the Fringe, I suddenly did 25 performances and got the sense of how a play in the repetition of performance can just get iteratively more deep and more profound. And it was the first time that people very kindly, teachers and friends, said that, you could probably do this if you want to. And that was when I kind of thought, wow, I think maybe I can. And then I went to university, and in my second term, I was actually, I was in a student production, and I was spotted by an agent. I had no idea about the industry and film industry or show business or anything. And I was very lucky. And she said to me, you can do this if you want to. But you've worked so hard to get to university, you should probably finish that. Which was really generous.
No, it's very...
Especially for an agent.
Yeah.
And then I did bits, and I auditioned for things, started kind of on the young professional audition circuit in the holidays and learned so much so quickly. I just was thrown in at the deep end. So yeah, I was about 19 or 20 when that happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, the arts sort of run in your family. Your mother was involved in the arts, and I think one of your sisters is an actress.
Yes, my mother she trained as a stage manager.
The most important person in theater, by the way.
The most important person in any theater. And she worked in opera in London. She worked at the English National Opera for a bit, and many other places. And then, yes, she was a bit sort of behind the scenes, but loved it. And then she had us, her children, and she took some time off to be a mother. And I'm so grateful to her. And then she went back into it when I was about 10, and has worked with opera companies and playhouses, and is such a great champion of the arts, such a passionate and articulate advocate for it. So she and I have always shared that. And my sister was an actor, and we actually were in a film together, my first film.
No way.
Yeah.
Unrelated?
Unrelated.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, she's in that. Yeah.
That's amazing.
She's brilliant in it.
Wow. Wait, who does she play? I must have
She plays my friend's sister. Yeah. So,
wow.
Ironically, yeah, because it was at the time it was such a independent, small production, and it's not a huge role, but there was an actress who had been attached to play the role, and she, literally the day before we started filming, she got cast in a much bigger film, and we were slightly wondering who we might find as a replacement, and I heard conversation. Anyway, she ended up doing it. Terrific. It was lovely to share that experience with her.
So she was a Nepo sister.
I probably, yes. She wouldn't enjoy that, but yeah.
So, but even, it can be a tough life of an actor. How did your mother sort of feel about you pursuing this? Because, we want lives to be easy for our kids.
Yeah.
And she can be excited that you love the arts, but did she give you any advice or any hesitation?
No hesitation,
wow.
Which I'm so grateful for as I look back, because doubt in life is catching, and I would have caught it probably if she had felt doubt. But no, she was she was so encouraging, and there was an extraordinary kind of. I obviously must have. When we're younger, we're fearless. I think I must have felt. I felt completely fear. Once I had sort of made that declaration, I'm going to do this. I needed to prove to myself that it was the right decision, and so I just dedicated myself to it with every fiber of my being. It was all I thought about, it was all I did. And I felt very grateful for that experience of that period as a student when I was auditioning for all kinds of things, for musicals, for plays, for television productions, for big films, huge, in Hollywood productions, very small, independent things, and not booking any jobs, but learning every time, every audition, I thought, okay, maybe I wasn't quite ready for that, or they want to get to know me, or they want to know the character, just the sort of terrain of auditioning. And then when I finally went to drama school, I thought, okay, I know exactly what I'm doing here. I'm not going to waste a second.
And you went to RADA, humble brag. It's not a humble brag if I say it for you. But even prior to that, I believe you were doing some small TV roles?
Yes, so it was while I was at Cambridge University.
That's a humble brag.
Sorry.
I went to a state school, so.
Look, it's great. So what happened was I was just so fortunate. I was in this production of A Streetcar Named Desire by Tennessee Williams, a great play. And of course there's the completely iconic film with Marlon Brando and Carl Malden, Vivian Leigh, sorry, yeah. I played Mitch, the Carl Malden character. Yeah, and an agent called Lorraine Hamilton and a casting director called Gilly Poole came to see it, and they wrote to the actress playing Blanche, who's brilliant, who was leaving. She was in her last year. And she got signed by the agent, and she went for an audition with the casting director, and she said, will you give my number to that guy who played Mitch? I would love to meet him. And I went down, got the train to London. I didn't really know. I thought I was going for a job interview, so I wore a jacket and a tie. It's so embarrassing. I was so junior and had no idea. And then she said, I would like to give you a small part in a television adaptation of Nicholas Nickleby for ITV, the independent broadcasting channel in the UK. And, but you need an agent to do a deal and stuff. And so I went to meet the agent, and suddenly by that summer I had a job, 4 days work and an agent, and it was extraordinary. I did just 4 days, and they were across July and August, but it was just, I'll never forget that job ever. I must have had 3 lines, but I learned so much about production. I learned so much about being on a set. I couldn't believe that my holiday job was being an actor, and then the agent said, why don't we keep doing this, and I'll look for jobs for you in your holidays from university, and then you can go back and do your academic work in term time. I was like, great. Cut to, all the jobs I booked were in term time. And none of them were in the holidays. And I remember there are 2 of them I had to go and meet the dean of the college and say, look, can I take 5 weeks off from the term? To which he replied, but Tom, the terms are only 8 weeks long. I said, yeah, but what if I stayed an extra 5 weeks after the term is over and wrote all the essays and did all the lectures that I missed? And he said, well, it's highly irregular, but you know, if you can prove a point, and I had to do that, so I actually was away from university for a large chunk of my 4th term, and then I had to stay. Everyone else left on the 1st of December, and I stayed until like just before Christmas. But it was kind of romantic, actually, just you know, studying on my own and going to the movies, and I had a little routine going. But it was really unusual. I was aware. And people were like, "Where have you been? Where are you going? Like, you were here last week, and then we didn't see you for 2 weeks." And I was sort of I was like, well, yeah, I had to go to London and do this thing, and I didn't want to kind of be. I didn't want everyone to know about it. It's quite strange to think about it now. Yeah.
Really? So it was like a secret life you were keeping hidden?
Yeah. But also the idea of what people thought it wasn't going to match what it actually was. You know?
Yep. Oh yes.
This thing of like, wow, you're an actor. You're like, you know, you're in the movies. I was like, well, king, I've got like 4 lines, and you'll blink and you'll miss me. So don't hold your breath, you know. Like, but who have you met that's famous? I'm like, precisely no one. And what's it like? And well, you get up at 4 in the morning, and you get into costume, and then you wait for about 5 hours, and then you walk on and do 2 minutes of acting, and then you wait for 5 hours again, you know.
Yeah.
But I was learning. I was so grateful. I was so happy to be there, to watch actors work and to watch a set. I was such a fan of film, and I loved being behind the curtain and seeing how it all came together, watching cinematographers put a shot together, and the sparks with the lights and sound recording and shooting schedules, because everything's of course out of sequence all the time, which people know more now, but they didn't then. Anyway, I'm digressing.
Oh, it's just funny because you're talking to someone, I believe you know this, that has been cut out of every movie they've ever done. So I've learned not to tell anyone, and especially don't invite people to a big premiere thinking you're still in the movie.
I actually do remember, so Nicholas Nickleby on ITV was broadcast across Easter weekend in I think 2001, possibly. Was that it? Would that be right? Yeah. And I got my whole family to sit down and watch it. And it was in 2 parts, so it was about 4 hours long. And they kept, like, everyone was like, when are you going to turn up, Tom? Are you in this? But it was so thrilling, even just to be there for 2 minutes. Yeah.
So was it upon graduation from RADA that because you came out to LA for a while, I believe, and
I should
sort
say,
of
actually,
things.
there's a really interesting, I haven't told this story enough. The last job I did before I left university was a television film called The Gathering Storm.
Yes.
Directed by Richard Loncrane, and it was about the period in the 1930s, between 1933 and 1939, centered on Winston Churchill and his personal life, his marriage to his wife Clementine, and his family life and his difficulty, because in the early 30s he was kind of being marginalized from frontline politics. But he was ringing a very loud bell about National Socialism in Germany, saying, I think we should be paying attention to what's going on. And slowly, people started listening to him. And in 1939, he was made First Lord of the Admiralty. It's a beautiful film. And at the center of it is the most extraordinary performance by Albert Finney, if you've never seen it, who won an Emmy for the role, playing Churchill, and Vanessa Redgrave playing Clementine, these 2 great legends. And I was playing their son, Randolph. Winston Churchill and his wife, Clementine, had 4 children, 3 daughters and a son. And as imagined by the filmmakers, which I think is true, Winston and Randolph had quite a tempestuous relationship. I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to be the son of Winston Churchill. That's a hard act to follow. And he had a really fascinating life, actually, Randolph Churchill. But I had these big scenes with both of them, and I was so nervous because I revered them. I'd revered Albert Finney. Erin Brockovich had come out like 2 years before that, and Vanessa Redgrave I'd seen on stage at the National Theatre in London. And I was so nervous, and I tried to calm my nerves by saying to myself, a son isn't nervous of his mum and dad. So just walk out there and argue with them. But Finney was so generous, and he didn't have to be, because I was nobody. I was literally, there were big stars on that set. Hugh Bonneville, Ronnie Barker, Lena Headey, Derek Jacobi, and I was just some junior actor, and he engaged me in conversation, and we had lunch together. And he said, what's next? And I said, well, I don't really know. I'm just about to leave university. And he said, do you have an agent? I said, yes. And he said, did you go to drama school? I said, no. He said, are you going to do this for the rest of your life? I said, I think so. He said, go to drama school.
Wow.
Because you've got time. What's 3 years if you're going to do it for the next 60? And you'll learn stuff there, and you'll challenge yourself and be challenged by them. And so I owe that to him, because I don't know if I would have thought of it as carefully as I did after that. Yeah.
So when did you take your first stab at Los Angeles? Was it after RADA graduation?
Yes, I graduated RADA 2005, and I first, can that be right? Yes. I left in 2005, and I first, I came to LA for a week, 1 week in late 2007, and was slightly overwhelmed. I remember I had pre-rented a car at LAX, and I went to pick it up, and my flight landed on a Friday night at about 4, Friday afternoon. And I remember picking up my car and driving on the 405. This is pre-GPS. And I thought, this will be the day that I die. I really thought I was driving on the other side of the road on a 6-lane freeway on a Friday night in Los Angeles. I thought, yep, this will be, well, I had a good run. But I loved driving around town. I met a few casting directors, and I had to go back because I was doing a production of Othello in London at the Donmar Warehouse. But it was a good taster for me. And then I did actually 2 plays after that. I did Othello and Ivanov, the Chekhov play. And then I thought I must go back and scratch the itch a bit further. And so at the beginning of 2009, very early in 2009, early January, I went back. I saved some money and I went back to Los Angeles, and that's when I auditioned. I just committed to auditioning for everything.
And how long were you there for? Do you remember what you auditioned for?
I think I was there for a month or a month and a half, maybe. And I can't remember if I've ever told you this story, Janelle, but I had a Toyota Camry, and I used to have like 5 or 6 different shirts according to the audition that I was going for. So if it was like a sort of West Wing style Washington drama, I had my like sharp kind of shirt, and then like there was the teacher's shirt, and then the ER doctor's shirt, and the kind of like just regular guy at the beach guy thing. But it was such an education, and I felt like I learned even more about the risk of being an actor, the requirement to be brave, to have a take, and to bring it into the room, and when no one else is, no one else is going to tell you how to do it. And so the confrontation of like, it's up to me now to deliver this and to build this and to do the work. And one of the auditions was for a small movie called Thor.
That was in LA? I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah.
That's so, because I assume Kenneth Branagh.
No, I mean, so Kenneth Branagh, I had acted alongside in Ivanov in the West End in London, and he was going to direct it, but I knew that it was a huge motion picture and he would have limited capacity to cast the movie himself. It was a big studio movie. A lot of key decision makers who I didn't know, producers and things. And I remember just being so grateful for the opportunity to audition. And I think it was really surprising because I gave everything to the first audition and then was invited to a screen test. And that's when I thought, if I don't throw my soul at this, I'll never forgive myself. Because I thought this is as close as I've ever gotten.
And was this because you originally auditioned for the character of Thor, didn't you? Okay.
But I knew that they were, I did know this ahead of time, that they were looking for what they would call unknown actors for the roles of Thor and Loki. And which is to say, they very cleverly, I think, very smartly of Marvel, they wanted to find actors who didn't have a previous association in the minds of the audience, so that the audience would simply commit to believing, well, that's Thor and that's Loki. Mm-hmm. We've never seen them before. They look like interesting characters. And it was the characters that needed to be cast rather than casting an already big name movie star as that character. So there was a kind of excitement in the community because there was a sense of like, oh, there's opportunity here.
Yeah.
They're going for actors who haven't done big movies. So there was a real sense, and there was a group of us, and every single one of those actors has gone on to have an extraordinary career. Alexander Skarsgård, Charlie Hunnam, Liam Hemsworth, some guy called Chris Hemsworth. So it was, very exciting. And I remember that, I think, I've said this before, but I signed my contract before going in for my screen test. And on the front page, it said something to this effect. Marvel Studios retains the right to cast Tom Hiddleston in the role of, and there was a blank, and somebody had written Thor/Loki. And I thought, wow, no one told me about that. So it was already something they were thinking about.
Wow. That's so interesting, though, because you read for Thor. Again, there's an alternate timeline where you're Thor, and you say those lines. You don't think so? There's no universe where that exists?
I think everything happens for a reason, and it's exactly as it should be.
Yeah. I'm just trying to imagine you saying those Thor lines.
Well, they were. Of course, they were. Even then, the script was in early development, and so the scenes were quite. They were even actually. They were quite intense and full of emotion, and they were about two brothers in a situation where the stakes were extremely high, and the requirement in the audition was to commit to the depth of those stakes, to play those stakes as if they were real. So in a way, they were sort of the same part. And then, of course, it developed around Chris in the most beautiful way.
When you found out you got the part, how did they tell you, and what did you do to celebrate?
I remember it was about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the afternoon in London. Let me get this right. It would have been 5, because it was 9 a.m. in LA. And it literally, Kenneth Branagh had said this afterwards. He arrived at Marvel, and he said, should we call them? And Kevin Feige said, let's call them. And at 9 o'clock in the morning, Pacific time, Ken Branagh and Kevin Feige called Chris Hemsworth and said, we'd like to offer you the role of Thor. Congratulations. And at 9:01, they called me and said, we would like to offer you the role of Loki. Congratulations. It was a very brief phone call, and I was on Kentish Town Road in northwest London. It was really busy, and busy kind of rush hour. And I just had to sit on the pavement, on the sidewalk for a while. I literally sat on the sidewalk and watched it. I thought, this is a moment.
Wow.
Take it in.
That's amazing. Yeah. I want to back up for just a second, because once again, you sort of undersold things. When you mentioned you did Othello, that was with Chiwetel Ejiofor and Ewan McGregor. And I
learned so much from them.
Really?
Yeah, I did. It was amazing to be in that production with them, because, yes, Chiwetel Ejiofor was playing Othello, and Ewan McGregor was playing Iago. And Kelly Riley was playing Desdemona. Michelle Fairley was playing Emilia, and I was playing Cassio, which I think is one of the great parts.
Yeah.
And it was so, they took it so seriously, and were so passionate about the play. And it was strangely, for a very, very disturbing and painful tragedy, it was one of the happiest times of my life. It was such a happy company. And there was some magic in that rehearsal room. I don't know who, probably Chiwetel was the source of it. But it was directed by Michael Grandage, the great Michael Grandage. And very happy time.
I love live theater, and just weirdly, within the last week, I've seen 2 shows where things went horribly awry. But I kind of loved it. I know you want everything to go smoothly, but there was something about the moment, and at one point they had to tell an actor, hold actor, please exit the stage, and he just goes, okay, and then came back out and just slid back into that character, and it was amazing. I love that anything can happen. Did anything ever go seriously awry? Did you forget a line, forget an entrance, fall asleep backstage, break something?
Yeah, no, I can't. No, fall asleep backstage is not in my wheelhouse. I mean, across the course of my theatrical life, definitely. I mean, there's a couple of things that come to mind. Years later, I went back to the same theatre, the Donmar Warehouse in London, to play Coriolanus.
Woo!
And, oh, thank you. Another great Shakespeare play and a terrific role. And there was a big broadsword fight at the end of the first act. And it was between myself and Hadley Fraser, who was playing Coriolanus's enemy, Ophidius. And it's a very important piece of combat and in the dramaturgy. And we had choreographed this thing for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, and we were so precise because it's a very small theatre and we didn't want anyone to get hurt. And one night we clashed swords, and my sword shattered and split in half, and a blade, I could see the blade in slow motion sort of helicoptering away, and mercifully it went to the back of the stage, not into the audience.
Okay.
And then I dropped it, but we hadn't finished the choreography, and then so he threw his sword back, and we kind of went into sort of improvised hand-to-hand combat.
Wow.
You know, which must have looked chaotic and helter-skelter. And then it was funny because I remember because Damian Lewis was in the audience that night, and Kenneth Branagh, I think. And I remember Damian coming backstage afterwards and saying, "It's amazing when your swords, we were all like on the edge of our seats. Does that happen every night?" And we were like, "Actually, Damian, that was kind of a mistake." But yeah, it's fun. It is amazing that heightened presence that comes into you when something goes wrong. The other one that comes to mind is not long ago, in 2019, I was in Betrayal by Harold Pinter. And we did a run in London and a run in New York on Broadway. And there's a scene towards the end of the play where my character Robert has to have lunch with his best friend, Jerry, played by the great Charlie Cox. And Robert knows that Jerry has been having an affair with his wife, Emma, but Jerry doesn't know that Robert knows. And Robert takes out all, in my interpretation, takes out all his aggression on the food.
The salad.
Yeah.
You stabbed that thing.
Prosciutto Maloney, and which is the starter that they order. Anyway, long story short, I was being very intense with my melon, and the melon was particularly slippery on this occasion, and melon would just fly off at different angles, sometimes into the front row. And once I was just so in the scene, I stabbed the melon and it fell off the table. And instinctively, I just bent down, picked it up, plopped it in my mouth. Oh. And the whole audience gasped. And then I saw Charlie's eyes start to twinkle. And then I swallowed it, and they gasped again. And then there was a moment of silence, and it was the most beautiful, held silence. And then everybody just erupted into laughter and giggles. And that's the magic of theatre, is that if you... Tom Stoppard said to me once, and it's a great thing, he had written a brilliant adaptation of Ivanov. And he said, the magic of theatre is that if you weren't there, you missed it.
Yep. Yep.
And that magic of the live performance, which is it's all happening right now, here. And tomorrow, it won't be the same. And I always loved that. I always have loved that.
Did you ever try to duplicate it? Like, you know, oops, I knocked my melon over.
No, never did, yeah. They're always I mean, sometimes things would go wrong, like I poured too much grape juice into my wine glass, and but it's a thrill when things go wrong. I had an acting teacher who said, never be afraid of mistakes, because in life, people make mistakes all the time. You know, we're all playing scenes in our lives, and things go wrong. You drop your keys, or you spill something. You know, you're on a date and you spill something down your front. You know, well, I didn't think the scene was going to go like that. And so when mistakes happen on stage, it's actually life being infused into the drama. And life is what it's about. We're trying to reflect real life on screen and on stage. So yeah, embrace mistakes always.
Since you mentioned Betrayal, for which she received a Tony Award nomination, do you remember telling me about the difference between doing Betrayal in London and then doing it in New York?
What did I say?
Because I saw it in both places, and the audience was very polite in London. But then the night that I was there in New York, when your character reveals, yeah, I know you've been having an affair with my wife for 2 years. Do you remember what happened?
No.
Some guy in the front row yelled out, "Holy shit!" at the top of his lungs.
An enthusiastic audience member.
Yes. And I was like, there's the difference right there. That sums it up.
But that's so thrilling too.
Yeah.
It's, like, because he was experiencing it alive for the first time.
Yeah. I often think about that guy. So coming back to Loki, he has changed so much over the years. And I think about, how he went from sort of this bruised outsider son to really a terrifying villain to sacrificing himself in those films. And then you look at the 2 seasons of Loki, and again, he grows and changes so much just in the course of that. Looking back, it's been 5 movies, 2 seasons of a TV show. Could you ever have predicted that journey?
Never. I mean, I thought I was given the opportunity to play this character of range and depth and dimension. And he was really different from anything else I had done up until that point. And I was going to dye my hair and, and really try and shapeshift a bit and explore this very unusual and unknown territory. And I thought I was going to do it once and be like, wow, that was great. I did not know that 15 years later, I would still be playing the character, and it's been the greatest surprise and the greatest delight of my whole life. Because it's the character is so ancient and deep. The emblem of what he represents in the human imagination is so necessary. And the capacity for reinterpretation and rediscovery and reinvigoration is endless. So it never feels like the same job. Every time it feels new. It feels, what's the purpose? What's the purpose of this character now in this new story that we're telling? Because we're not telling the story we told last year or before. We're telling another story now. And where does Loki fit into that story? Because if you're lucky with these kinds of stories, you're aiming at myth. And I really believe this, we need myth in our lives, because myth binds us together. There are these ancient stories that we can connect to and reinterpret, see ourselves reflected in, and they're very reassuring. And society, I think, has always needed myth in that way. So if you can get close to that, you're in an extraordinary position of good fortune.
And I'm sure everyone has seen all 2 seasons, so I'm going to get into some spoiler territory. But the finale of season 2, the season finale, I'm not prepared to call it a series finale just yet. We saw this character who was once so selfish and petulant, like literally sacrifice everything for his friends. And he gets what he wanted. He gets to rule a kingdom as the god of stories, but it's a solitary one. And it is beautiful and tragic. It's so well done, and I know like a lot of that is the special effects and the music and the editing, but it also comes down to the look on your face when he steps out onto that bridge and is like, binding the stories. And then when the final shot we see of him in the throne. I'm so curious because, I know how sets work, and I don't know how they prepared you for that. There's no build-up. We see a big build-up. It's you sit in a chair and they say action, and then you have to do that. What was going through your mind on that day?
It was the most very, very memorable for me. And I felt the significance of the moment for me personally. And there was something completely magical about the way it was set up. Because when I was at drama school, I was in an improv class where you were literally in a white box and you weren't allowed any props, any costume, anything to help you or help the audience believe where you were. The task in the lesson was, can you use only your body to tell a story? If it's raining, you haven't got an umbrella, you have to pretend.
Oh, good space work.
But and I found it really challenging. And the lesson was, the first commitment you have to make as an actor is in your imagination. You have to commit to a belief that you are somewhere you are not. That you are in another space, which is not this white box with it just is a blank space. But you have to commit internally that you're somewhere else. And that is all acting is, really, is having enough conviction in a belief that you can present an entirely different reality. On that set, I had a costume, mercifully. But I had nothing else. I had a staircase, a blue staircase, and a cyclorama of blue screen. There were no ropes to be timelines, and there was a chair at the top. But everything else I had to imagine. My family, my sort of TVA family behind me, they weren't there. The TVA itself wasn't there. It was just, I felt so grateful that it was this great acting. I was back to basics, back to pure acting. Imagine that you are climbing the steps at the end of time in the farthest corner of the universe to save reality. And you are tasked with weaving together with your bare hands disparate strands of people's lives, and that your commitment and your resilience and your sacrifice is going to be what allows them to live. And let that resonate in your body. And I don't know if I've described it very well, but it was just so, I felt so grateful that it was just so honest. It was such an honest moment of like, oh, this is what acting is. I really have to, actors pretend. And I'm going to have to pretend really, really hard today. And make it real, at least make it real for me. I loved it. And actually, you draw on stuff, actors draw on things all the time, and it was towards the end of the shoot, and I was drawing on so many memories of the journey of the last 15 years, and all of the friends I've made, and all the experiences I've had, and all of these very special memories of making these films. Because, when you watch a film, when I watch a film, it takes 2 hours, maybe 3 of my life. But when you make a film, at least it takes a year of your life. And so those films have become chapters of my adult life. And so when I was up there, I was thinking of all of the last 15 years. And in a way, I think that helped me. Yeah. And that I was carrying those people with me. And the crew were absolutely amazing that day. Because I was looking at all of them. I was looking down at the crew. Camera operators, focus pullers, set dressers, costume designer, hair and makeup artists, stunt people. They were all down there in front of me. And I felt that they were with me. And I found that very moving, their generosity in being there for me and with me. It's an amazing thing. We have an amazing job. We're very lucky.
And see, again, that's why, yep. Really? Really? You're telling me to rap.
No.
Oh.
Keep going, you're fine.
Okay. So I'm giving you guys a special treat here. This is a preview. We have a program at Variety called Know Your Lines. We ask actors if they can remember certain lines from their most famous roles when presented completely out of context. And we're going to have a video that Tom is doing that will air on Variety.com in the upcoming weeks. But you have literally so many great projects to choose from. I'm going to give you a warm-up session because you're so great at quizzes. You really need it. I'm going to present you with some lines from your roles out of context.
Okay.
And see if you know where they are. We're starting with an easy one, okay?
Oh, Hamlet.
No, you got to read it.
Oh, sorry. It says, "The rest is silence." It's a line from Hamlet.
I couldn't go with to be or not to be.
Yeah.
All right.
"Your savior is here." think that's from Thor Ragnarok.
Very good. All right, gonna get a little tougher.
I was living half a life before you met me. I've got nothing to lose. The night manager.
Whoa.
You know what I don't like is people pretending one thing and they've got something else on their mind. Hank Williams, I Saw the Light.
Damn.
Yeah.
Thought I had you for a second. Okay, this is my personal favorite.
You drank Ian. That's from Only Lovers Left Alive. Before yesterday, I was quite ignorant. Oh, I do know that.
It's hard when they're out of context. I totally...
The Deep Blue Sea?
No, but I did have a Deep Blue Sea one that I cut. That is Robert in Betrayal.
Betrayal.
Yes. Probably the most recent one.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you got one wrong. He got something wrong. I'm so excited. Okay, this one is a little bit of a trick, so do not feel bad if you get this wrong.
Merchandising, so beneath me. The Simpsons.
Yes! Very good.
The Good, the Bart, and the Loki, is it? Or something?
No, actually, it was Welcome to the Club. It's Lisa joining a Disney
okay.
princess and
Okay.
Bart, a.k.a. you disguised as Bart. This is actually taking longer than the actual short does, but you should just check it out on Disney+. They're actually telling me we have to wrap.
Audience questions?
Do I have permission to do some audience
Audience
questions?
questions?
I have some. Unless some. No? No, we have to. We're being clear. They're going to kick us out? Okay. Apparently, we're being kicked out.
There's supposed to be some audience questions.
Yeah, there was, yeah. I have them here. Okay, I guess unless anyone tells me differently, I'm so sorry because I thought I had more time and I occupied a lot of it.
Two more?
2 questions.
2 questions. Okay. I better make them good. Kelsey wants to know what fictional character would be the most exciting to meet in real life. Now, I don't know if they mean character you've played or any character.
Any character
Yes.
from all time?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. Winnie the Pooh.
Why?
Winnie the Pooh is the absolute best.
I'm an Eeyore girl.
You're what?
I'm an Eeyore girl.
You're also great.
Yes. When you meet Winnie the Pooh, can you ask him why he doesn't wear pants?
I think we need to get to know each other better before I ask him that question.
We have a question from Maggie. What would you say is the best or most fulfilling thing about being an actor?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. Honestly, it goes back to when I was in the audience and as a teenager watching actors on stage in the theater and on screen at the movies and feeling as if they somehow understood things about the experience of being alive, which I also understood. And I would look around at the audience and see other strangers laughing at the same time, crying at the same time, being moved at the same time by the same thing. And that act of arriving in an auditorium as a stranger and leaving as a group with a shared understanding of the same experience seemed to me to be the most profound exchange. And I felt that it was so generous of those actors towards me because I felt less alone in the world and more connected to people. And I thought, I would love to be able to be a part of that community. I'd love to do that. And it's still that for me. It hasn't changed. Of course, you know, every job is different. Every experience is different. I'm so lucky that that's what I get to do for a living. It never escapes me. I feel very grateful.
Oh, well, we are so grateful. Yes. We are so grateful to share this experience with you. I want to thank you all for being a great audience. I want to thank you so much for being here. Again, congratulations on all this.
Thank you, Janelle. Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you.